The radio telescope in Puerto Rico picked up something strange at exactly 3:47 a.m. On a Tuesday morning. Dr. Elena Martinez was drinking her fourth cup of coffee when the computer started beeping like crazy. She had been working the night shift for 3 years, but she had never heard sounds like this before. "Jake, come look at this," she called to her partner, Jake Sullivan, who was reading a magazine at his desk. Jake was a communications officer who knew more about radio signals than anyone else at the facility. Jake walked over and looked at the screen. His eyes went wide. "Elena, this is not random space noise. This is a message. A real message from somewhere out there." The signal was strong and clear. It was coming from a point in space about 40 light years away, but what made it special was that it was clearly artificial. Someone or something had sent it on purpose. Elena and Jake worked for 6 hours straight to decode the message. They used every computer program they had. The signal was complex, but it followed mathematical patterns that any intelligent species would understand. By morning, they had most of it figured out. The message was short and direct. It said, "Primitive species of Sol-3, you are approaching dangerous technological thresholds. Your species exhibits concerning aggressive tendencies and rapid advancement patterns. Cease all faster-than-light research immediately. Failure to comply will result in preemptive containment protocols. You have been warned." Elena felt her hands shake as she read the words. Sol-3 was what astronomers sometimes called Earth. Someone out there knew about humans, and they were not happy about what they saw. Jake immediately called Admiral Lucy Carter at the Pentagon. Admiral Carter was in charge of all space-related military operations. She was a tough woman who had served in 3 wars and never backed down from a fight. "Admiral, we have a situation," Jake said when she answered the phone. "We just received a message from space. It's a warning. They want us to stop our research." Admiral Carter was quiet for a moment. "I'll be there in 2 hours. Don't tell anyone else about this until I arrive." While they waited, Elena and Jake studied the message more carefully. The aliens had been watching Earth for a long time. They knew about human wars, human technology, and human nature. They seemed to think humans were dangerous. Admiral Carter arrived with a team of scientists and military officers. Among them was Dr. Ryan Brooks, the world's leading expert on faster-than-light travel. Ryan had been working on FTL technology for 15 years and was close to a breakthrough. "Show me the message," Admiral Carter said. Elena played the decoded signal. Everyone in the room listened carefully. When it finished, the room was silent. "They know about our FTL research, Doctor," Brooks said quietly. "That means they've been watching us for years, maybe decades." Admiral Carter picked up her secure phone and called President Kevin Walsh. "Mr. President, we need an emergency meeting. We have first contact, and it's not what we expected." 3 hours later, President Walsh sat in a secure room with his top advisors. The message played again. Everyone looked worried except for the president, who seemed more curious than afraid. "So let me understand this," President Walsh said. "Aliens have been watching us. They think we're dangerous. They want U.S. to stop our research, and if we don't, they'll contain us. Is that right?" "That's correct, Mr. President," Admiral Carter replied. "What does containment mean?" asked General Paul Martinez, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Dr. Brooks answered. "Based on the language they used, it probably means they'll destroy us or trap us on Earth permanently. They see us as a threat to galactic peace." President Walsh stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city below, where millions of people were going about their normal lives, not knowing that humanity had just received its first message from space. "What do we know about these aliens?" he asked. Elena spoke up. "We analyzed the signal's origin and technology. They're clearly more advanced than us. The message traveled faster than light, which means they already have the technology we're trying to develop. They also seem to be part of some kind of organization. They called themselves the Galactic Council." Council?" President Walsh repeated. "So there are multiple alien species and they work together." "That's what it sounds like," Elena confirmed. Admiral Carter leaned forward. Mr. President, we need to make a decision. Do we stop our research as they demanded, or do we continue? The room was quiet. Everyone knew this was the most important decision in human history. President Walsh turned back to face the group. In your opinion, Dr. Brooks, how close are we to achieving faster-than-light travel? Very close, sir. Maybe 6 months, maybe less. This message actually gave us some clues about how their technology works. And Admiral Carter, in your military opinion, what happens if we stop our research? Admiral Carter was quiet for a moment. Sir, if we stop now, we'll always be trapped on Earth. We'll never explore the galaxy. We'll never meet other species as equals. We'll be prisoners in our own solar system. President Walsh nodded slowly, and if we continue, then we'll probably have to fight them. The president walked back to his chair and sat down. He looked at each person in the room. Has anyone in this room ever known Americans to back down from a fight when freedom is at stake? No one answered, but everyone knew what he meant. Dr. Brooks, continue your research. Speed it up if you can. Admiral Carter, prepare our defenses. And someone get me our best communications expert. We're going to send these aliens a reply. Outside, the sun was setting over Washington, D.C. In a few hours, humanity would send its response to the stars. The galaxy was about to learn something important about humans. They don't scare easily. The next morning, President Walsh called Sophie Turner to the White House. Sophie was the best communications expert in the country. She had written speeches for 3 presidents and knew how to choose the right words for any situation. Sophie, I need you to help me write the most important message in human history. President Walsh said as she sat down in the Oval Office. Sophie looked confused. What kind of message, Mr. President? We're replying to aliens who just threatened to destroy us if we don't stop our space research. Sophie's coffee cup nearly fell from her hands. Aliens? Real aliens? Very real. They sent us a warning yesterday. They think we're dangerous and want us to stop developing faster-than-light travel. We're going to politely tell them no. Sophie took a deep breath. Mr. President, how do you politely tell advanced aliens to go away? President Walsh smiled. That's why I called you. But first, let me tell you what I'm thinking. These aliens expect us to be afraid. They expect us to obey them or beg for mercy. But that's not who we are. What do you want to say to them? I want to thank them. Sophie looked at him like he was crazy. Thank them for threatening to destroy us? Think about it, Sophie. They took the time to contact us. They warned us instead of just attacking. In their own way, they're showing us respect. They see us as dangerous enough to worry about. That's actually a compliment. Sophie started to understand. So we acknowledge their warning, thank them for the courtesy, but politely refuse to comply. Exactly. And we let them know we're looking forward to meeting them. Sophie opened her laptop and started typing. For the next 3 hours, she and President Walsh worked on the message. They wrote it, rewrote it, and wrote it again. Finally, they had something they both liked. The message was simple. Thank you for the warning. We appreciate you taking the time to contact us. However, we must respectfully decline your suggestion to halt our research. We look forward to meeting you soon. President Walsh read it one more time. Perfect. It's polite but firm. It shows we're not afraid, but we're not trying to start a fight either. Mr. President, are you sure about this? They might attack us? Sophie, if they were going to attack us, they would have done it already. They sent a warning because they want us to stop on our own. That tells me they're not sure they can beat us in a fight. While Sophie and President Walsh worked on the message, Admiral Carter was at the Pentagon with Colonel Pete Johnson. Pete was a military strategist who had studied every major battle in human history. He was known for thinking outside the box. Colonel, I need you to prepare for the possibility of war with an advanced alien civilization, Admiral Carter said. Pete nodded. I've been thinking about this since yesterday. The good news is that we have advantages they don't know about. What kind of advantages? Well, they think they know us because they've been watching us fight each other. But humans fight differently when we're united against a common enemy. When we're threatened from the outside, we become incredibly creative and determined. Admiral Carter sat down. Go on, look at World War II. We went from making cars to making bombers in months. We invented new weapons, new tactics, new strategies. We adapted faster than our enemies could keep up. These aliens have probably never seen anything like that. But they have better technology. Maybe, but technology isn't everything. The best technology in the world doesn't matter if you can't predict what your enemy is going to do next. And humans are very good at being unpredictable. Meanwhile, Dr. Brooks was in his laboratory with engineer Lisa Wong. Lisa was a genius who could build almost anything. She had been working with Dr. Brooks on the FTL project for 2 years. Lisa, we need to speed up everything, Dr. Brooks said. The president wants results as fast as possible. Lisa looked at the alien message data on her computer screen. Ryan, this is actually helpful. Their transmission method gives us clues about how their FTL technology works. What do you mean? Look at this pattern here. They're using a type of space-time manipulation that we theorized about but never tried. If we can figure out how they did it, we can build our own version. Dr. Brooks studied the data. How long would it take? With the old approach, maybe 6 months. But if we use their method as a starting point, maybe 2 months. Maybe less. Do it. Whatever you need, you'll get it. That evening, President Walsh met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and his science advisors. The message to the aliens was ready to send. Before we send this, I want everyone to understand what we're doing, President Walsh said. We're telling a superior alien force that we refuse to obey them. There will be consequences. General Martinez spoke up. Mr. President, are we sure? We want to provoke them? General, they're already provoked. They sent us a threat. We can either kneel down and hope they leave us alone, or we can stand up and show them who we are. Admiral Carter added, if we give in now, we'll always be. They're prisoners, we'll never explore space. We'll never meet other alien species. We'll be trapped on Earth forever. Dr. Brooks raised his hand. Mr. President, I should mention something. The alien message actually helped us understand FTL technology better. We're making progress much faster now, President Walsh smiled. So, their warning is actually helping us do exactly what they don't want us to do. That's right, sir. Then it's definitely time to send our reply. The message was transmitted from the same facility where Elena and Jake had received the alien warning. Elena was there to operate the equipment, along with Jake and a team of technicians. Message sent, Elena announced. President Walsh watched the transmission equipment. How long before they receive it? At light speed, about 40 years. But if they have FTL communication, they might get it much sooner. Good. Now we wait for their response. Jake looked at the president. Sir, what if they attack us? President Walsh thought for a moment. Then we'll show them something they've never seen before. We'll show them what humans do when we're fighting. For our freedom. Far away in space, the Galactic Council was about to receive humanity's response. For the first time in their history, they would encounter a species that thanked them for a threat and politely refused to obey. The Council had no idea how to handle such a response. On Earth, humans went to bed that night knowing they had just declared their independence to the galaxy. Tomorrow, they would wake up and continue building the technology that would take them to the stars, whether the aliens liked it or not. The Galactic Council chamber was a massive dome floating in space near the center of the galaxy. Inside, representatives from 50 different alien species sat in a circle. They had been the rulers of the galaxy for over 10,000 years. Ambassador? Zex Prime of the Centauri Alliance was the first to speak. He was tall and blue, with 4 arms and large black eyes. The humans have responded to our warning, he announced to the council. Excellent, said Council Leader Vorthka, a massive creature that looked like a walking tree. They have agreed to stop their dangerous research. Actually, no, Zex Prime replied. They thanked us for the warning and politely refused to obey. The council chamber went completely silent. In 10,000 years, no species had ever responded to a containment warning this way. They thanked us? asked Representative Clicktar, an insect-like being with multiple eyes. For threatening them? Yes, they said they appreciate us taking the time to contact them. Then they said they look forward to meeting us soon. Council Leader Vorthka's branches rustled with confusion. This makes no sense. Are they too primitive to understand what we told them? No, they understood perfectly. Their message was carefully written. They know exactly what we meant. The council erupted in confused chatter. Different species spoke in different languages, but they all had the same question. What were these? Humans thinking? Historian Prime Velank raised one of her 6 tentacles for silence. She was the oldest being in the council and had studied more alien species than anyone else. Perhaps I should research these humans more carefully. Their response is unprecedented. Do that, ordered Council Leader Vorthka. Find out why they are not afraid. Velank returned to her vast library ship. She had records of every species the Council had ever encountered. She pulled up all the data they had collected about humans over the past 3 centuries. What she found disturbed her. Humans were unlike any other species in the galaxy. Most intelligent beings developed technology slowly and peacefully. They built their civilizations over millions of years, avoiding conflict whenever possible. Humans were different. They had gone from primitive stone tools to space travel in less than 10,000 years. They had fought constant wars throughout their history, but instead of destroying them, the wars had made them stronger and more creative. Velank studied human conflicts more carefully. Every time humans faced a crisis, they invented new solutions. When they were attacked, they fought back with tactics no one had seen before. When they were threatened, they worked together in ways that surprised their enemies. The more she read, the more worried she became. Humans did not respond to threats the way other species did. They responded with defiance and innovation. The Council's warning had probably made them more determined. Not less, on Earth, Captain Neil Roberts was preparing for the most important flight in human history. Neil was a test pilot who had flown every experimental aircraft the military had ever built. He was fearless and skilled. Exactly the kind of person needed for humanity's first faster-than-light test. Dr. Brooks and Lisa Wong had been working day and night for 6 weeks. Using the alien transmission data, they had built a small FTL engine. It was crude compared to what the aliens probably had, but it would work. Neil, this is completely experimental, Dr. Brooks warned. We don't know what will happen when you activate the drive. Neil smiled. Doc, I've been flying experimental aircraft for 20 years. This is just another test flight. This is different. You'll be traveling faster than light. You'll be going where no human has gone before. Even better, when do we launch? The test ship was called the Independence. It was small, built for speed rather than comfort. Neil climbed into the cockpit and started the engines. Control, this is Independence. All systems are ready. Independence, you are cleared for launch. Good luck, Neil. The Independence lifted, off from the secret base in Nevada. Neil flew it high into space beyond Earth's atmosphere. When he reached the correct distance, he activated the FTL drive. The universe seemed to fold around him. Stars stretched into lines of light. Space itself twisted and bent. Then suddenly Neil was somewhere else. He looked at his instruments. He was 2 light years from Earth, near the Alpha Centauri system. The flight had taken less than an hour. Control, this is Independence. FTL test successful. I'm at Alpha Centauri. Back on Earth, the control room erupted in cheers. Humans had just achieved faster-than-light travel, but Neil's journey was not over. As he prepared to return to Earth, his sensors detected something. There was a ship nearby, and it was not human. Control, I'm detecting an alien vessel. It's approaching my position. Independence, be careful. Do not engage unless attacked. The alien ship was small and peaceful-looking. It sent Neil a message in broken English. Human ship, please do not fear. We wish to talk. Neil responded carefully. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Neil Roberts of Earth. What do you want? We are Vaxery. We are traitors. We have been listening to your communications with the Galactic Council. We wish to warn you. Warn us about what? The Council is not what they claim to be. They are not peacekeepers, they are conquerors. They destroy any species that becomes too advanced. Neil felt his heart race. Are you sure about this? Very sure, we have seen it happen many times. They offer protection, but they really want control. Any species that refuses to obey them is destroyed. Why are you telling me this? Because you are the first species in our memory to stand up to them. Maybe you can succeed where others have failed. The Vaxxery ship transmitted a data package to Neil. This contains information about Council technology and tactics. Use it wisely. Neil returned to Earth with the most important intelligence in human history. The Galactic Council was not a peaceful organization. They were conquerors who had been ruling the galaxy through fear and threats. President Walsh called an emergency meeting. The data from the Vaxxery revealed that the Council had destroyed dozens of species over the millennia. Any civilization that developed FTL technology and refused to submit was eliminated. So they never intended to leave us alone, Admiral Carter said. They were always planning to destroy us. That's right, President Walsh replied, which means we made the right choice. If we had obeyed them, we would have been slaves. Since we refused, we have to fight. Colonel Johnson studied the Vaxxery data. This is helpful. It shows us their ship designs, their weapons, their tactics, but it also shows us something else. What? They always fight the same way. They have standard procedures for everything. They've been winning for so long that they've forgotten how to adapt. President Walsh smiled grimly. Then it's time to show them what happens when you threaten humans. Dr. Brooks, how fast can you build more FTL ships? With this new data, very fast. We can have a small fleet ready in 2 months. Do it. And Colonel Johnson, start training our pilots? We're going to need them. In the Galactic Council chamber, Historian Prime Velank presented her findings. The Council listened with growing alarm as she explained human nature. They are not like us, she concluded. They do not surrender, they do not submit. The more you threaten them, the more dangerous they become. Council leader Vorthka was quiet for a long moment. Then we must destroy them before they become too powerful. That may not be possible, Velank replied. According to my research, they have already achieved FTL travel. They are no longer contained to their solar system. The Council had made a terrible mistake. By threatening humanity, they had united their most dangerous enemy. Now they would have to face something they had never encountered before, a species that fought back. 2 months after humanity's first FTL test, the Galactic Council sent their enforcement fleet to Earth. Commander Thextar led the fleet from his massive command ship. He was a veteran warrior who had crushed 17 different species over his long career. This will be easy, Thextar told his officers. Humans are primitive. They have barely achieved FTL travel. We will show them the power of the Council and they will surrender. The enforcement fleet had 50 ships. Each one was larger and more powerful than anything humans had ever built. They carried weapons that could destroy entire cities and shields. That could stop any attack. But when the fleet arrived at Earth, they found something unexpected. The humans were ready for them. Captain Amanda Price commanded Earth's defense fleet from her ship, the Liberty. Amanda was a former Navy pilot who had been chosen to lead humanity's first space navy. She had only 12 ships, but she had something the aliens did not expect, a plan. All ships, this is Captain Price, remember what we practiced? Stay spread out, keep moving, make them chase us. The alien fleet moved toward Earth in a perfect formation. They had fought this way for thousands of years. It had always worked before. Human ships? This is Commander Thextar of the Galactic Council. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Captain Price responded calmly. Commander, this is Captain Price of the Earth Defense Force. We decline your generous offer. If you want Earth, you'll have to take it. The battle began when the alien ships opened fire. Their energy weapons lit up space like lightning. But the human ships were not where the aliens expected them to be, Lieutenant. Commander Gary Stone was piloting a small fighter craft. He had studied the alien data from the Vaxxery and knew exactly what to do. while the big alien ships fired at the main fleet. Gary flew his fighter directly at the command ship. "Gary, what are you doing?" Captain Price asked over the radio. "Something they won't expect," Gary replied. Gary's fighter was tiny compared to the alien command ship. The aliens ignored him because they thought he was harmless. But Gary was not planning to fight the big ship. He was planning to get inside. Jerry flew his fighter straight into the command ship's docking bay. The aliens were so surprised that they forgot to close the bay doors. Gary landed his fighter inside the enemy ship and started placing explosive charges. Meanwhile, Captain Price was leading the main fleet in a dance around the alien ships. The humans used tactics the aliens had never seen before. They split up, regrouped, and attacked from unexpected angles. "They are not fighting like a proper military force," Commander Thextar complained to his officers. "They have no formation, no discipline. How are we supposed to predict their movements?" "Sir, that appears to be their strategy," his tactical officer replied. "They are being unpredictable on purpose." The turning point came when pilot Sarah Kim discovered something important. Sarah was flying a modified fighter that had been built with human creativity and alien technology. During the battle, she realized that the alien ships could not handle rapid changes in tactics. "All fighters, this is Sarah. I'm going to try something new. Follow my lead." Sarah took her fighter and began flying in a pattern that looked completely random. She dove under alien ships, looped around their weapons, and flew between their formations. The alien targeting computers could not keep up with her movements. "Sarah, what are you doing?" Captain Price asked. "I'm confusing their computers. Their weapons are designed to fight predictable enemies. But humans are not predictable." Other human pilots began copying Sarah's tactics. Soon, the entire human fleet was flying in ways that made no sense to the aliens. The alien ships, with all their advanced technology, could not hit targets that moved randomly. Commander Thextar watched in horror as his powerful fleet was being outmaneuvered by primitive human ships. "How are they doing this?" "Our technology is superior." "Sir, I think that's the problem," his tactical officer said. "Our technology is designed to fight logical enemies, but humans are not logical." The battle reached its climax when Gary's explosives went off inside the command ship. The massive alien vessel shuddered and began to lose power. At the same time, Sarah led a group of fighters in a direct attack on the ship's main weapons. "Oh, human ships, this is Gary. The command ship is damaged. Now's our chance." The human fleet concentrated their attack on the wounded command ship. Their weapons were not as powerful as the alien weapons, but they were firing from close range and hitting weak spots. Commander Thextar realized he was losing the battle. His superior technology meant nothing if he could not hit his enemies. His logical tactics were useless against humans who fought with creativity instead of rules. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Fall back to the outer system." The alien fleet withdrew, leaving the humans in control of Earth's orbit. It was the first time in galactic history that an enforcement fleet had been defeated by a primitive species on Earth. People cheered in the streets. Humanity had won its first battle against a superior alien force, but the leaders knew this was just the beginning. "They'll be back," Admiral Carter told President Walsh. "And next time they'll bring more ships." "Then we need to be ready, President." Walsh replied, "How many more ships can we build?" Dr. Brooks had good news. "Using the alien technology we captured, we can build ships much faster now. We can have 100 ships ready in 6 months. And I have an idea about tactics," Colonel Johnson added. "The aliens fight the same way every time. But we can change our tactics with every battle. We can be a different enemy each time they face us." Captain Price returned to Earth as a hero. She had proven that human creativity could defeat alien technology. But she knew the real test was still coming. "The next battle will be harder," she told her pilots. "They know about our tactics now. They'll try to adapt." Sarah Kim raised her hand. "Then we'll just have to be more creative." "What do you mean?" "We'll use our ships in ways they can't imagine. We'll turn our weaknesses into strengths. We'll make them fight our kind of war instead of theirs." In the outer system, Commander Thextar sent a message to the Galactic Council. The humans are more dangerous than we thought. They do not fight like any species we have encountered. They are unpredictable and creative. We will need a much larger fleet to defeat them. The Council was shocked. No primitive species had ever defeated an enforcement fleet, but they were also angry. The humans had embarrassed them in front of the entire galaxy. Send the Grand Fleet, ordered Council Leader Vorthka. Bring 500 ships. Destroy every human vessel. Show the galaxy what happens to species that defy the Council. But across the galaxy, other species had heard about the human victory. For the first time in thousands of years, someone had stood up to the Galactic Council and won. The news spread from world to world, and many species began to wonder if they, too, could be free. The Vaxery sent another message to Earth. You have done something amazing. The Council has ruled through fear for too long. We will help you however we can. Humanity had won the first battle, but the real war was just beginning. The next time the aliens came, they would bring overwhelming force. But they would still be facing humans, and humans had something the aliens did not understand: the refusal to give up.